Action. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3 in the theaters last Friday, and I went. The theater was packed, for one thing. It was packed, and even with the air conditioning on, it was hot as hell in the theater, and it smelled awful. But because it was like opening weekend. But despite the fact it was hot and I was sweating, and I drank all my soda, I had to go to the bathroom like 3 times during the movie. Despite all of that, I had a lot of fun watching it. And oh my god, 2 cars passing at once. Good lord. That's my fault for trying to film this in a driveway. No, it was a lot of fun. And, I don't think I was as swayed with this Guardians as I was with the first 2. But it has that solid James Gunn emotional core that all of his movies have. And I think, that's important. And he still made it a fun movie despite everything. And what is everything? Despite everything. What do I mean by that? Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is beset by this problem. It has to be the ending to the Guardians trilogy. It has to be the ending of their story. I think any problems the movie has, small, minor as they may be, are because it has to be the ending. There are a lot of questions that the audience has accrued over the last 2 Guardians movies and Endgame and Infinity War and that Christmas special. The audience has questions, and they all have to be answered, right? And your attention is kind of broken because Gunn has to do a lot of jumping around between different threads, right? Between the Guardians and Rocket, and because this is a movie focusing on Rocket, and the High Evolutionary, the villain, and his cronies, Adam Warlock and his mother, right? And I don't think Adam Warlock. I'm gonna focus on him for a moment. I don't think Adam Warlock is particularly important for this movie, but because he was teased, he has to be there, basically. And he's still a fun character, don't get me wrong. The actor who played him did a fantastic job. Any scene he showed up was funny, and there's a certain brutality to Warlock, because I really do think the best way to film, acts of feats of superhero strength is to just film them flat, head on, right? I think I would be a lot more impressed by just a straight up, long distance, medium, whatever, shot of Superman just lifting up a car from the ground uninterrupted. That would be, more impressive to me than, the entire fight from the end of Man of Steel. And Adam Warlock, there are scenes where he uses his strength and his powers, and it's filmed kind of flat, and that makes it a little more disturbing. And, I like that. That was a good touch, but, and he was fun. He says chum, and I think that's great. I love it when superheroes say chum. How very Adam West. But I suppose he was just there to kind of, tie up loose ends. Again, that's just kind of the big problem, if there even was one, is they have to tie up loose ends. Speaking, though, of the other villain, the real main antagonist, is the High Evolutionary. And oh my god, what a great villain, right? Every YouTuber, every essayist, every film reviewer, every classmate you had in high school probably talked about how the MCU has a villain's problem, right? They have boring villains. Or they have twist villains that aren't interesting. The Disney-style twist villain, that guy from Frozen, the prince, I don't even remember, right? High Evolutionary is just a good villain. He's a guy that you love to hate because he's vain, he's egotistical, he's sociopathic, he's just so wrong-headed, so mal-developed that you spend the whole movie just waiting for him to be proved wrong, to be taken down a peg. And I think you want your villain to inspire a strong reaction in the audience, whether that's hatred or sympathy or whatever else have you. And I think Gunn did a really great job at that. Because High Evolutionary is just fantastic. But superhero movies aren't just about, being the bad guy, right? Superheroes are also supposed to help people. I mean, they're the Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's see him do some gardening. Let's see him be a little proactive. And I think that's a big problem I have with a lot of MCU movies, is not only do superheroes in those movies not really save a lot of people, and I mean not in the sense of beating the bad guy saves people, yes, but a lot of the time they don't go out of their way to save people. these movies. But like, they don't even go out of their way to kind of establish the world, right? In Avengers, Battle of New York, it's not like New York is a character, or it's the civilian population is really ever established. It makes it hard to empathize in some ways when the whole city gets destroyed, because they're kind of relying on the fact that you care about New York, and I do care about New York, but I don't live there. I live very far away from New York, and so when I see this whole city being destroyed in the movie, and the movie doesn't go to great lengths to make me care, it's just kind of like whatever. And in Guardians, there's a similar like great destruction scene, but before that, prior to that, James Gunn goes out of his way to have the Guardians sit down and talk to the people who live there, so that when this whole great place is destroyed, you feel bad, and superhero movies don't do that, and the Guardians, it's not just great destruction and action. They do save people. They do rescue people. This is where that James Gunn emotional core comes back. This is possibly my favorite scene from the whole movie. There's a moment where I want to say it's Rocket, or perhaps it's Drax. I don't know. But someone affiliated with the villain is saved by the Guardians, and they are like, why did you help me? Why did you do this? I've done nothing but harm you in service of the High Evolutionary. And, the Guardian says, well, everyone deserves a second chance. And I just think that little moment of empathy was just so refreshing, so kind, and so wonderful to see in a movie. For the guff I give it, for all my griping, really doesn't matter. This is, I think, the best movie that the MCU has put out in quite a while. A movie where you care about the heroes and you don't like the villain, and there's action and there's fantastic set pieces and creativity, and Gunn comes back with that excellent taste in music, and just get yourself a ticket. Go see it with your friends. If you've been following The Guardian since you were a kid, you'll probably get a lot out of this. And I'd say that, if you have some time, maybe do go revisit those first two movies, and certainly the Christmas special, because I feel like I was missing little bits and pieces as I saw the movie. But this is definitely something worth seeing. And it makes me a little sad that this is the end, because I don't know when we'll see a superhero movie as good. At least until Spider-Verse comes out in June. Yeah. Come and get your love. Come and get your love.